In the next few clips, we're going to focus on the first skill from our active listening toolkit, the skill of inquiry. Recall that inquiry means asking open questions or making open requests for more information. We're going to show a clip from Rosemary and Mark's negotiation. See if you can identify if and when one of the parties uses an active listening move, and then think about whether or not it was effective and why.
One thing I think I want to make clear, or make sure that I understand it, is you were concerned about being foreclosed from certain markets. And I don't think that anything in the article says that you can't market anywhere in the world.
Right.
The question is whether you can shut other people out of selling at a lower price in a disadvantaged market.
Right, except for as a practical reality, I think the way it works is that you need to be able to get into that market and start and have that market, or else you don't have anything, right?
Can you just enlighten me? I mean, how robust is patent enforcement in Kyrgyzstan anyway? I mean, how is this realistically going to affect your, I mean, how is life under Article 16 really any different when we're talking about the countries that are listed here? I mean,
well,
in Haiti, if a generic wants to come into Haiti, Article 16 is not going to prevent you from doing anything that you otherwise could do without it, right? I mean, how does Article 16 hurt you in China? It's not as though you're going to be able to go into the courts of China with a Chinese patent and say, please order the Chinese generic to stop selling in China.
Well, it doesn't prevent us from enforcing our U.S. patent against other folks who might be selling elsewhere.
I want to focus in on one moment from this scene in which Mark uses a form of inquiry, and then show some scenes from the review. Here's the moment.
Can you just enlighten me? I mean, how robust is patent enforcement in Kyrgyzstan anyway?
So let me ask Mark what your purpose was in picking this country, Kyrgyzstan.
I was trying to figure out how much really was at stake here. Because it struck me as someone probably not that well versed, but who reads the papers, that there are a whole lot of countries on these lists where a right to enforce a patent is basically valueless. And unless there was a response to that, that means that the other side's position isn't really as strong, I think, as ours would be. So it was an effort really to try and determine what it is we're actually negotiating.
Rosemary, so he asks, sort of when Mark mentions Kyrgyzstan, what's your reaction when you hear what his purpose was? What were you thinking?
I was thinking, well, that's kind of ridiculous. We don't really care about Kyrgyzstan, right? You know, so you have a range of things you can pick from, and you're picking the most extreme version, but there's this whole other range we're ignoring. It's it's like a straw man. You know, you sort of throw it out, and then it's like, okay, well, that may be true, but it's irrelevant.
There are a few telling statements from Mark in this review. If you listen closely, it seems like he has two main purposes in his listening, both to understand how much really was at stake for the university and to make a point that would undermine the other side's position. Mark's internal stance was not genuine curiosity. It was actually attacking the other side's argument. And it seems like this came across to Rosemary, who, as we heard, had a pretty negative reaction. In another moment in this review, I observed that Mark's form of inquiry failed to unearth a central and important piece of information. Rosemary never explained that the company was very unlikely to get funding with Article 16 intact. When I brought this up, Mark had a noteworthy response.
I mean, that's a challenge I don't know that we ever got to in the whole hour that we were sitting there. I mean, we were talking about which countries should and shouldn't be on there, which was all basically a sub-discussion of how much is Article 16 really worth anyway? Like, is it that much of a hardship? And this discussion goes on for a long time.
So this is the danger of not listening well. There's a deal out there that would be good for both sides, but you never discover the missing piece of information that would help you find the option that resolves the dispute and that allows the transaction to happen.